The desperate call. The crystalline spires of Elysium, capital city of the silvery homeworld, glowed with soft amber light as emergency alarms echoed through the normally peaceful metropolis. Inside the Grand Council chamber, 7 figures sat around a circular table crafted from luminescent stone, their expressions somber beneath the light of 3 moons visible through the transparent dome above. First speaker Nera, her silver-scaled skin reflecting the ambient light, placed both 4-fingered hands on the table. The reports are confirmed. The Ravager fleet has destroyed the Centauri colonies. They will reach our system in 15 standard cycles. Murmurs of despair rippled through the chamber. The Silvari had not fought a war in over 3 millennia. Their civilization had flourished through science, art, and diplomacy, not conflict. Our defensive capabilities? Asked Elder Thorin, his voice cracking with age and worry. Science Minister Vela shook her head, the neural filaments that served as her hair swaying gently. Our shields can withstand their initial barrage, but not sustained assault. The Ravagers have adapted to every defensive measure we've deployed. They've only grown stronger with each world they've consumed. Silence fell over the chamber. The Silvari weren't just facing defeat, they were facing extinction. The Ravagers didn't conquer, they obliterated, leaving nothing behind but stripped planets and asteroid fields where thriving worlds once existed. What of our allies? Medical Director Zinn asked, though all present already knew the answer. Too distant to arrive in time, Nera replied softly. The Artesian Federation has pledged support, but their nearest fleet is 6 months away. There is one possibility, came a hesitant voice. All eyes turned to Junior Counselor Lorien, the youngest member of their leadership. She rarely spoke during these sessions, making her intervention all the more notable. Speak, Counselor, Nera encouraged. Lorien activated her data pad, and a holographic projection appeared above the table, a blue and green planet with swirling white clouds. Earth. The chamber erupted in voices of protest and disbelief. Deathworlders. Their gravity alone would crush our bones. They evolved in poison. Predators, all of them. Nera raised her hand for silence. Explain your reasoning, Lorien. The young counselor's voice steadied as she continued. Yes, the humans evolved on a Class 9 death world by our standards. Their planet has crushing gravity, extreme weather, a caustic oxygen-rich atmosphere, and apex predators that would terrify any Silvari. She manipulated her controls, showing images of Earth's hurricanes, volcanoes, and diverse wildlife. But these harsh conditions created something remarkable. Lorien continued, shifting the display to human cities, spacecraft, and military forces. The humans have advanced from primitive technology to interstellar travel in less than 500 years, an unprecedented development rate. They'd survived their own wars, unified their planet, and begun colonizing nearby systems. They are dangerous, warned Elder Thorin. Yes, Lorien agreed, but the Ravagers are certain death. The humans might be our only chance. Nera's gaze moved around the table, measuring the reactions of her fellow counselors. Our long-range sensors indicate they have established 17 colonies across their region of space. Their military capabilities are considerable. But will they help us? Asked Vela. We have nothing to offer them that they could not simply take if they wished. Lorien's voice grew passionate. That's where you're wrong. Our studies of their transmissions, their history, they value something beyond mere resources or technology. They prize courage, honor, the protection of the innocent. Their cultural narratives frequently feature themes of standing against impossible odds to protect others. The council chamber grew quiet as the implications settled. You believe they would fight for us, Nera said slowly, simply because it aligns with their moral code. I believe it's worth asking, Lorien replied. After hours of debate, the decision was made. The Silvari would reach out to the Deathworlders of Earth, not as supplicants offering tribute, but as one sentient species appealing to another. In the communication chamber, Nara sat alone before the quantum transmitter. The message would take 3 days to reach Earth through the subspace network. She touched a control and began. People of Earth, I am First Speaker Nara of the Silveri Collective. We are a peaceful civilization located 287 light-years from your home system. I transmit this message because my people face extinction. An entity we call the Ravagers approaches our worlds. They have already destroyed 11 civilizations along the galactic arm. They do not negotiate. They do not accept surrender. They consume all in their path. We have exhausted every diplomatic and defensive option available to us. We know of your reputation. We have observed your rapid expansion among the stars. We understand that you evolved on a world that would be lethal to most Silveri within minutes. Some among our people fear these qualities. Today, we hope these same qualities might save us. We offer no payment, as we have nothing you could not take by force if that was your nature. Instead, we appeal to something we have observed in your cultural transmissions, your willingness to stand against injustice, even at great personal risk. We are sending our star charts and all known information about the Ravagers with this message. We have 15 standard cycles, approximately 18 Earth days, before the first attacks begin. This is a request for assistance from one sentient species to another. We send this message with hope. The transmission ended, and Nara remained seated, staring at the stars visible through the chamber window. Somewhere out there were humans, unpredictable, powerful Deathworlders who might be their salvation, or simply silent witnesses to the Silveri's end. All she could do now was wait. General Helena Walsh stood at the viewport of Earth Defense Force headquarters, watching shuttles dock with the orbital station above. Earth shone blue and white below, partially obscured by the sprawling shipyards where humanity had, until recently, been building vessels primarily for exploration and colonization. General, her aide's voice came through the comm. The Security Council is waiting. Walsh turned from the view and strode through the corridors to the command center. At 53, she moved with the efficiency of someone who had spent decades in military service, her dark hair streaked with gray and cut in a practical style that required minimal maintenance. 5 people sat around the circular table, representatives from Earth's unified government. Admiral Kazuo Chen, head of the Space Fleet, Dr. Amara Okafor, chief of xenobiology, Defense Minister Carlos Rice, Prime Minister Soraya Patel, and Director Ivan Kuznetsov of Intelligence Services. We've confirmed the transmission is genuine. Director Kuznetsov began without preamble. The star charts match regions we haven't mapped yet, but the spatial coordinates are consistent with our models. What do we know about these Silveri? Asked Prime Minister Patel. Dr. Okafor activated a display showing the limited information they had gleaned from the transmission. Based on visual data and environmental parameters mentioned in their transmission, they appear to be a carbon-based life form adapted to a low-gravity, low-oxygen environment. Their technology is advanced, possibly 50 to 75 years ahead of ours in certain areas, particularly in energy manipulation and material science. And these Ravagers? Defense Minister Rice inquired. Unknown, Kuznetsov replied. But the destruction patterns indicated in the Silveri data suggest a systematic extermination campaign, not mere conquest. Admiral Chen studied the tactical projections. If we're going to do this, we'll need to move quickly. I can have the 2nd and 5th fleets ready in 48 hours. 27 combat vessels, plus support ships. This would be humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization, Prime Minister Patel noted. And it would be in the context of war. General Walsh, who had remained standing, finally spoke. We've spent centuries wondering if we're alone in the universe. Now we know we're not, and our first neighbors have asked for our help. She pointed to the display showing the path of destruction left by the Ravagers. If we ignore this, what does that say about us? What happens when the Ravagers finish with the Silveri and keep expanding? Silence fell over the room as each person considered the implications. There are those who will say this isn't our fight. Rides warned. There are those who said the same thing in every humanitarian crisis in human history. Walsh countered. And they were wrong every time. Prime Minister Patel looked around the table, measuring the resolve in each face. We'll need to inform the public. The truth. All of it. Agreed, said Walsh. No secrecy. This is humanity's decision, not just ours. The vote was unanimous. Within hours, the transmission was broadcast globally, along with the Security Council's proposed response. Public debate was intense but brief. As images of destroyed worlds circulated, a sense of purpose swept through Earth's population. Volunteers flooded military recruitment centers. Industry shifted production priorities without government mandate. 3 days later, General Walsh recorded humanity's response. First Speaker Nera of the Silveri Collective. I am General Helena Walsh of the Earth Defense Force. We have received your message and reviewed the information you provided. Earth stands with the Silveri. Our fleet is preparing to depart and will arrive within 15 days. Hold your position. You are not alone. The message was brief, the commitment enormous. As Walsh finished the recording, Admiral Chen approached. The Second Fleet is ready for immediate departure. The Fifth will follow in 12 hours, he reported. We're loading experimental weapon systems and deploying combat drones at maximum capacity. Walsh nodded. How are the troops? Resolute, Chen answered. The phrase first contact, first rescue has become something of an unofficial motto. Good, Walsh said. Make sure they understand. These Silveri aren't just potential allies, they're counting on us. Humanity's first steps into the galactic community will be judged by how we respond to this crisis. 14 days later, the human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Silveri space. 27 warships arranged themselves in formation, their hulls dark against the stars except for the Earth Defense Force insignia illuminated on their sides. On the bridge of the flagship Dauntless, General Walsh watched the main view screen as they approached the glittering Silveri homeworld. Its 3 moons hung in a perfect alignment that occurred only once every 7 years. What would have been a celebration had become a countdown to potential extinction. We're being hailed, Communications Officer Dias reported. Put it through, Walsh ordered, straightening her uniform. The screen flickered, and First Speaker Nera appeared, her silver-scaled features showing unmistakable relief despite her alien physiology. Behind her stood the Silveri Council, their large eyes wide as they beheld humans for the first time. General Walsh, Nera said, her translator converting her harmonics to English. On behalf of all Silveri, I welcome you to our home. Your arrival brings hope to our people. Walsh nodded respectfully. First Speaker, we received your call, and we came. Now let's discuss how we're going to defeat these Ravagers. Deathworlders unleashed. The Ravager fleet arrived exactly when predicted. A wall of enormous black ships emerging from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Silveri system. 48 vessels, each nearly twice the size of the largest human warship, moved in perfect formation toward the inner planets. In the war room aboard the Dauntless, General Walsh and Admiral Chen stood with the Silveri leadership, studying the tactical display. The alien leaders watched with fascination and unease as the humans talked rapidly, their voices louder and their movements more forceful than any Silveri would consider polite. Their ships have superior firepower and defenses, Chen noted, but their formation is rigid, predictable. They've never needed to be creative, First Speaker Nera explained. Their technological advantage has always been sufficient. Walsh's eyes narrowed as she studied the enemy movements. Then that's our edge. Admiral, implement Operation Thunderclap. The human fleet split into 3 battle groups, a maneuver that caused visible distress among the Silveri military advisors. You're dividing your forces, asked Defense Coordinator Thale, the concept clearly alarming to him. The Ravagers expect us to make a stand at your homeworld, Walsh explained. Instead, Battle Group Alpha will engage their forward elements, while Beta and Gamma circle behind for flanking attacks. But the Ravagers will break through Alpha Group, Thale protested. That's the plan, Chen said with a tight smile. The Silveri exchanged troubled glances, unused to such seemingly reckless tactics. The battle began exactly as Walsh had predicted. The Ravagers, encountering unexpected resistance, focused their attention on the human battle group Alpha. 9 Earth vessels against the might of the Ravager vanguard seemed like suicide to the watching Silveri. But then something remarkable happened. The human ships moved like no vessels the Silveri had ever seen. Unpredictable, aggressive, almost reckless in their maneuvers. They darted into the Ravager formation, fired at point-blank range, and accelerated away before the larger ships could bring their main weapons to bear. Your pilots, Lorien gasped, watching the tactical display. They're flying manually. Of course, Chen replied, as if it were obvious. Our neural interfaces allow them to react faster than any automated system. As Alpha Group engaged in what appeared to be a fighting retreat, battle groups Beta and Gamma emerged from hiding positions behind 2 of the system's moons, catching the Ravager fleet in a pincer movement. Missiles and energy weapons fire crisscrossed the void as the human fleet executed maneuvers that pushed their inertial dampeners to the limit. Inside the Ravager command ship, Supreme Executor Karn Voth watched the battle unfold with mounting confusion. These new defenders were nothing like previous prey. They did not flee in panic, nor did they make a noble but futile stand. They attacked, retreated, then attacked again from unexpected vectors. A chaotic dance that defied prediction. What species fights this way? He demanded of his strategists. Unknown, Executor, came the reply. Their biological signatures do not match any in our database. Karn Voth studied the sensor readings more carefully. Their vessels are accelerating beyond safe tolerances. The G-forces would kill most sentient species. They appear to be adapting to our tactics, Executor, changing their approach with each engagement. This was new. This was concerning. Back on the Dauntless, Walsh received reports from the battle. 3 human ships had been critically damaged, but the Ravagers had lost 7 vessels, an unprecedented setback for the previously unstoppable force. We've hurt them, she told the Silveri Council, but this is just the beginning. They'll adapt. As will we, Chen added. We're analyzing their response patterns now. First Speaker Nera watched the humans with a mixture of awe and concern. They showed no fear in the face of overwhelming odds, only determination and a strange excitement that seemed almost inappropriate given the circumstances. Your people, she said carefully to Walsh, they seem energized by combat. Walsh considered this. We evolved as pursuit predators. First Speaker. Problem-solving under stress is literally in our DNA. She gestured to the tactical display. But make no mistake, we're fighting for your people, not for the thrill of battle. Over the next 3 days, the conflict intensified. The Ravagers, recognizing the threat posed by the human fleet, changed tactics, targeting Earth vessels with overwhelming firepower. 4 more human ships were destroyed, their crews evacuating in emergency pods that the Silveri hastily retrieved. The turning point came on the 4th day, when Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez approached Walsh with a proposal so audacious that even the general initially dismissed it. You want to do what? Walsh asked incredulously. Hack their command ship, Rodriguez repeated. The Silveri sensors detected a pattern in their communication protocols. If we can get close enough, we might be able to introduce a virus into their systems. Getting close enough would be suicide, Admiral Chen pointed out. Rodriguez smiled. Not if we use a stealth shuttle modified with Silveri cloaking technology. A small team could approach undetected. Walsh studied the engineer's proposal, then looked to First Speaker Nera. Is this possible? Could your technology be adapted this way? Theoretically, Nera admitted. But no Silveri could survive the acceleration necessary to evade detection if the cloak failed. Then we won't send Silveri, Walsh decided. I'll lead the team myself. Despite protests from both human and Silveri leadership, Walsh assembled a team of 6 volunteers. The shuttle was modified with Silveri cloaking technology integrated into human stealth systems, a hybrid approach that neither species would have developed independently. As preparations continued, cultural exchange between humans and Silveri deepened. Human medical teams worked alongside Silveri healers, developing new treatments for the wounded of both species. Engineers collaborated on weapons systems, combining Earth's aggressive innovation with Silveri's elegant efficiency. In the dauntless mess hall, off-duty human soldiers shared meals with Silveri scientists, each fascinated by the other's adaptations. Humans demonstrated their ability to eat almost anything, while Silveri showed off their capacity to sense electromagnetic fields naturally. "You really can't feel that?" asked Lorien, holding a power cell between her hands. To her, the energy flow was as obvious as light to human eyes. "Not without equipment," admitted Lieutenant Park, watching the subtle changes in Lorien's skin coloration as she interacted with the energy. "But I bet you couldn't do this." He placed his hand on a heating element that would have burned Silveri flesh instantly, leaving it there for several seconds. "Incredible," Lorien whispered. "Your pain tolerance alone would qualify your species as Deathworlders, even without Earth's other characteristics." "One person's hell is another's home," Park shrugged. The fateful day arrived. Walsh's team boarded the modified shuttle as the main fleet prepared for a major engagement to distract the Ravager command ship. As the shuttle bay doors opened, Admiral Chen offered a traditional military salute. "Give them hell, General." The shuttle slipped away from the Dauntless, its hybrid cloaking system rendering it invisible to both visual and sensor scans. The small craft accelerated at forces that would have killed any Silveri, the human crew grimacing but functional as they approached the massive Ravager command vessel. "Their shields have predictable fluctuation patterns," communications specialist Diaz noted, monitoring the alien systems. "We'll have a 2-second window to slip through on each cycle." Walsh nodded. "Time it perfectly. We'll only get one shot." The shuttle passed through the Ravager shields during a momentary weakening, attaching to the hull near what intelligence suggested was a data processing node. While the battle raged elsewhere in the system, Walsh's team cut through the hull and entered the massive ship. The interior was designed for beings larger than humans, with atmosphere slightly denser than Earth normal, uncomfortable but survivable. The team moved quickly through corridors illuminated by harsh blue light, avoiding Ravager crew members when possible, engaging them with silent weapons when necessary. "Their internal security is minimal," noted Security Officer Tarek. "They never expected anyone to get this far." They reached the central data core, a towering column of pulsing light extending through multiple decks of the ship. Rodriguez connected her equipment to an access terminal, her fingers flying over the interface. "Their system architecture is unlike anything I've seen, but the underlying principles are universal," she muttered. "Uploading the virus. Now." The effect was immediate and catastrophic for the Ravagers. Throughout their fleet, command systems began failing. Ships lost coordination, weapons targeting became erratic, and in some cases, life support systems fluctuated dangerously. "Signal the fleet," Walsh ordered. "Full assault on all disabled vessels." As the human Silveri combined fleet pressed their advantage, Walsh's team fought their way back to the shuttle, the Ravager crew now aware of their presence. In the final corridor before the hull breach, they encountered Supreme Executor Karnvoth himself, a massive figure nearly 3 meters tall, accompanied by elite guards. "So," the Executor's voice boomed, translator implants rendering his speech in English, "I finally see the vermin that dares resist the inevitable." Walsh stepped forward, her weapon raised. "There's nothing inevitable about extinction, Executor. Not yours, and certainly not the Silveri's. You fight for weaklings," Karnvoth snarled. "What are they to you?" "Neighbors," Walsh replied simply. "And we protect our neighborhood." The firefight was brief but intense. 2 human team members fell before Karnvoth was badly wounded, his guards eliminated. As the massive alien leader lay dying, He stared at Walsh with something approaching comprehension. "What are you?" he gasped. Walsh knelt beside the fallen executor. "Humans. From Earth. Remember the name." With their command structure in chaos and their supreme executor dead, the Ravager fleet began to fragment. Some ships attempted to retreat, others fought on with increasing desperation. The combined human Silveri fleet pressed their advantage mercilessly, destroying or disabling all remaining enemy vessels. 3 days later, the Silveri Grand Council convened a ceremony to honor their human saviors. The crystalline spires of Elysium were draped with banners showing both Earth and Silveri symbols side by side. First Speaker Nera addressed the assembled representatives of both species. "Not long ago, we feared the humans of Earth. We called them Deathworlders, beings forged in conditions we could barely imagine. Today, we recognize that what made them seem dangerous is precisely what saved us from extinction. Their strength, their adaptability, their relentless determination, these are qualities we now honor." She turned to General Walsh, who stood with her surviving officers. "You came when called. You fought for those you had never met. You risked your lives for our future. The Silveri will never forget Earth's courage." Walsh stepped forward to speak, her voice carrying across the assembly. "First Speaker, Council members, people of Silveria, we did not come here seeking gratitude or alliance, though we value both. We came because no sentient species should face extinction while others stand idle. Earth has known war throughout its history, sometimes for reasons less worthy than this. Today, we use the strength our harsh world gave us to ensure your gentle one survives." She paused, looking out at the faces of both humans and Silveri. "Our worlds are different. Our biologies are different. But today we learned that our hearts are not so different after all. And in this vast galaxy, that may be the most important discovery of all." As night fell over Elysium, humans and Silveri gathered together under the light of 3 moons, no longer separated by fear or misunderstanding, but united by something stronger, the recognition that in the endless expanse of space, the greatest resource any species could have was not technology or weapons, but friends who would answer when called. The Deathworlders had come not to conquer, but to protect, and the galaxy would never be the same.